Good afternoon. This is Marquita here with Plano ASG, and this is a continuing of the series of Men Who Sew in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And today I'm joined with Art Porter. And Art, can you just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your journey with sewing and your foundations?
Well, my name is Arthur Porter, and I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and founded the nonprofit Dallas Designing Dreams back in 2006. And we focus on entrepreneurship and economic development. Before that, I was working in the audiovisual field, and before that, I was working as a photographer. So I've always enjoyed being into something creative. So for me, I wanted to learn how to sew back in the 70s, but during that time, men were not supposed to be sewing. So I missed an opportunity because one of the last of the old tailors here in Dallas wanted to teach me how to be a tailor, and I passed up that opportunity because I did not want other guys to know that I was sewing. And that's one of the things in life that I still regret.
I can understand that. I've gone on tours of the Savile Row tailors, and just to be able to think about taking a class there would be amazing.
Yes, yes.
So how is Dallas Designing Dreams doing in the current COVID environment?
Well, we just started to reopen because we've been trying to figure out how to do this and keep everybody safe. But it gave myself time to do the things that I have not taken the time to do over the last 10 years. So for me, it's been like a long needed vacation. But you know, I try to come in now at least 4 days out of the week for about 2 to 3 hours. We just purchased a 15 needle embroidery machine.
And that's what's behind you there, right?
Yes, yes. And that's a huge learning curve for me. But I love the creativity so much that I'm always up for a challenge. So we're doing good. Next week, well, the second week, well, yeah, next week, we'll start letting people come in, but it would only be by appointment. And everybody have to wear a mask. We bought a face shield, so anyone that's gonna come in and do continuous work, we're going to give them a face shield that they will leave here, and every time they come, they would have to wear their mask, but they would have to wear a face shield.
As well.
So we're trying to get back to where we're bringing life back into the space.
So your space is on Lamar in downtown Dallas, correct?
Yes, we located in the South Side on Lamar Building, which is right across the street from the Dallas Police Headquarters. It used to be the old Sears and Roebuck building.
And I'm going to put in the links, your YouTube channel with all of your leather classes on there. Have you created any more classes or patterns since I talked to you last?
I have not, because we're now teaching people how to build computers too. So, yeah, so I've gotten more into in-house teaching because I think I probably created 125 how-to videos. So I figured that's enough to feed people for a while. And so, so now before COVID hit, we was working with women that have come out of the sex trade.
Okay.
We developed a curriculum, and we started working with them back in October of 2019. And COVID hit, we shut down in March 13th this year. And so we're just beginning to start to bring them back.
And so this is a curriculum on sewing education or being an entrepreneur?
For both.
For both.
Yes, the curriculum, Carla teaches the sewing with fabric, so she worked with them first. And then I started to work with them, showing them how to work with leather. And then we went into the digital component where we taught them about graphic designing, how to create posters, how to create their t-shirt line. We tried to give them, you know, a number of things that they could choose from, but we wanted them to have the experience of each one of them. And so they could decide on what is it that I like doing the most, or what is it that they're learning that they could use with whatever they want to do.
Right, take their own creativity and pick a direction with whatever tools interest them the most or whatever areas.
Yes.
So what do you see for the future of Dallas Designing Dreams, or your future more specifically?
Well, the other thing that we're doing is we'll purchase some equipment to where we can do live streaming without a computer, and we can also plug 3 cameras up to it. So if we wanted to go out in the park and we want to live stream and not have to use a computer or a cell phone, we can do that. So basically what we're doing is we're getting set up to where we can do what we do, but do it digital.
Okay.
You know, the videos, they are great, but the people cannot ask any questions, you know, as they're seeing what's going on.
Right.
So basically what we're working on is getting set up to where we can do long distance learning live.
Right, because I know that you have followers from basically all over the world, so.
Yeah. And people still, matter of fact, I answered a couple of comments this morning. You know, there's always new people that's finding the videos because they have questions. But the thing about it is that it's not live, and COVID have changed everything. So we thought, okay, so we'll change with it.
Right, right. It has opened up some new ways of doing business, and people are figuring out that maybe virtual is okay.
Yes, yes. Before COVID hit, we had a partnership with Airbnb, where we were people will book time to come in and learn graphic designing and create their own T-shirts.
So that was part of the Airbnb experience?
Yes, yes. And we was doing real well with that. So we just try to look at the different ways that we can monetize what we have and what we know how to do.
Right. And I'm going to mention to everybody, and I'll put it in the links, but Dallas Designing Dreams is a nonprofit.
Yes, we are a nonprofit. We've been around for 15 years now.
Helping lots of people along the way.
Yeah, a lot of people have come through our doors.
Right.
A lot of people, yeah.
So what could you tell us are some of your inspirations, whether they be a person or a thing? Where do you get your inspiration from?
You know, I really get my inspiration from meditating. I've learned to sit and be still and listen. And I start to see things, and I act on it. It just may be a word, you know. It may be something visual that I will see, and I would just act on it. And when I do that, I look at it as being obedient, and that's what keeps me inspired. Is being still and listening. It's not TV. It's not a movie. It's not it could just be somebody may walk in here and they may say something and I hear something that I need to do and I'll just do it.
Well, I know you're always looking for needs in the community and trying to find programs to fill those. And I admire that so much about you and Carla as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know that, as you were saying in the 70s, that sewing in the United States especially seems to be a women's career, a woman's hobby. And with COVID, I mean, I'm sure you know that all the sewing machines were sold out everywhere and people were making masks like crazy. And I think it's opened it up to a lot of different communities or different, you know, men are sewing. But what would you tell the traditional sewing groups out there to be more welcoming, or what they could do to open up to different communities, different ages, different groups that maybe traditionally haven't been thought of as sewers?
Well, you know, what I have found is that when we're willing to share, you know, what we know, it does open up doors. Because when we're willing to share it and share it freely, to where if someone have a question for us, we don't mind answering that question, or we don't mind giving them some direction. When we do that, people know when we want to share. And so what I've learned to do is that if someone walk in here and if they just look like that they want to learn something, I would start to share information to them. And because I think by being a baby boomer, our parents and grandparents understood that it took a village to raise a child. So you can, in your neighborhood, there was adults that would look out for you, that would give you wisdom, they would teach you. And I think as the baby boomers, we sort of took that mindset of, I got mine, now you need to get yours.
Right.
And we sort of kind of stopped that sharing component. So I think if we just share with people, it will open doors. I mean, people will walk through them because people will be drawn to you because you're willing to share. So that's one of the things that I always try to do, and it always make people feel welcome. People don't mind asking questions because they know that I don't mind answering the question, you know? And so I think that's one of the things that I would say is that be willing to share.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think also that even though we may be experienced sewers, there's still so much we can learn from somebody else's creativity.
Yes, yes. And now, when I was a kid, I used to watch my grandmother sew. But I never asked her, you know, any questions, but I used to sit and watch her. And when she go to the fabric store, I used to go to the fabric store with her and just watch her select her fabric. But I never asked any questions because boys was not supposed to have anything to do with sewing. Now, my mother did teach me how to sew my buttons on my shirt, you know, but as far as using a sewing machine, that was, you know, so I kind of put that aside for years, but it was still in me. And so just by watching her, that inspired me to want to sew. And really up until I started sewing in 2000 and may have been 2004, but nobody would share. You know? And that was kind of before YouTube, you know, where you can go and find how to do something. And I remember going trying to get people to show me, and nobody would show me. So that would discourage people to not want to keep searching, you know. And so, like I said, I think that's one of the main things is just being willing to share, and people will come to you and they will want to learn, you know. But I don't know. That's what I would always.
Well, I think that's good advice. And also, in the age of Corona, what do you see people being interested in? Do you think it's going to be clothing? Do you think it's going to be accessories? Do you think it's like customization, like embroidering, or?
You know, for me, what I try to do is I try to look at what no one else is, well, not no one else is doing, but where you don't see much activity going on. For me, my focus is making something for that you can put on your bicycle. You know, because growing up, a bicycle was a toy until I turned 15. Then I wanted to drive, and after that, you know, I didn't want to have anything to do with a bicycle. But in some parts of the world and some parts of the country, the bicycle is a way of life, and there's a lot of accessories that those people that ride the bicycle are searching for, and they can't find it. So that's one of the things that I've started looking at very strongly, is creating and develop some type of design or accessory for bicycles.
Right, I understand that bicycles are hard to come by during COVID as well, because people were taking up a renewed interest in biking around the neighborhood, since getting the exercise as well.
But see, the other thing I realized about bicycles is that there's all type of riders. There are riders that ride across country. There's riders that ride just on the weekend. There's riders that race. There's riders that do mountain climbing, and you know. And so what I started doing was looking at, oh, what can I make for that group right there? Mm-hmm. And because that's a community, that's how, because community, they share.
Right.
They tell other people in the community, this is, you know, you can get this from this person, or you can find this. Because it's, I don't know, COVID have changed our way of thinking. It have changed what it is that we want to do now.
Right.
Now, what's going to happen after COVID? We may go back to our same ways. You know, we may go back to our same ways again. But I'm trying to stay focused on changing with it.
Right. Right. I think that's a good. I think that is a good outlook, is that change with it and look for opportunities maybe that aren't being addressed in the marketplace.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Art, do you have any final words for us, for the sewing community?
Only thing that I just want to say is share. You know, that's you know, I have been told I'm too much of a giver, but we receive so much back, you know, when we are sharing, because we learn.
Very true.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
All right, thank you. Thank you for reaching out.